Hello everyone, this is a series of video on previous year PSC questions. This is part 2 of our series on fluid mechanics. Today's topic is pressure and its measurement. So let's begin with the questions. So question number 1 is the liquid which is used in manometers should have option A low density, B high density, C low surface tension and D high surface tension. As you can see, this question has been asked in Rajasthan PSC 2011. So first thing is which liquid we use in manometer. Before that, what is manometer? So manometer is a pressure measuring device, and the most commonly used liquid in manometers is mercury. So mercury is used in manometers because of two properties. First is it has low vapor pressure, which makes it less volatile, because if you remember, manometer is nothing but a glass tube, one end of which we insert in a pipeline. So for example, this is the pipeline in which we want to measure the pressure. Water is flowing in this and we want to know pressure at, let's say, this point. So at this point we will insert a manometer. So it is nothing but a glass tube. So if it is a U-shaped manometer, it will look something like this, and in this manometer there will be a manometric fluid which is mercury mostly. So due to the pressure here, there will be some displacement of mercury in both the limbs, and that we can measure, and through that we can identify what is the pressure. Now this is open to atmosphere. If this liquid has high vapor pressure, means it is more volatile and it will be evaporating. So the property of the liquid should be such that it has low vapor pressure. So mercury satisfies that. And the second thing is density of the fluid should be high. Density of the fluid which is going to be used in manometer should be high. So Mercury has 13,600 kilogram per meter cube at the standard conditions. So due to its heavy density, what happens? The fluctuation in mercury is less, so it is easy to read. So for high pressures also, because if you remember, P is equals to rho GH. So H and rho are inversely proportional, so higher will be the density, you will get corresponding less fluctuation. It is easy to measure. Whereas if the liquid is having low density, what will happen? It will be a large column of mercury in this, or of that liquid in this manometer, and then you need a long tube for that case if the pressure is high. So the right answer is high density and low vapor pressure. Already, if you remember, mercury has high surface tension. That is, the cohesion between the molecules is more as compared to water. So it is approximately 0.4 Newton per meter for mercury. Mercury and air interface. Now moving on to the next question. Multi-U-tube manometers with different fluids are used to measure. So manometers can be of different types. They are pressure measuring devices. They can be differential manometers, simple U-tube manometers. So depending on their use, there are different manometers. Multi-U-tube manometers are used to measure high pressure. Whenever we want to measure the pressure difference, we use differential manometer. And for moderate to high pressures, we can use simple U-tube manometers. Inverted manometers are used where the pressure difference is low, and single column manometer is used when we have to measure the pressure fluctuation. So these are some different manometers which have different purposes. For low pressure, we can use piezometric tube or piezometer. Now, moving on to the next question. To measure the static pressure in a pipe, one uses a pressure gauge connected to a. So, whenever we have to measure the static pressure in pipe, we use pitot tube. Pitot tube is nothing but a tube like this. We insert this tube in the flowing fluid, and due to the velocity, due to the kinetic energy of the fluid, it rises up in this up to some height, and this height we can measure, and we can measure the pressure at that particular point. Venturimeter and orifice meter are flow measuring devices. That means we can measure the rate of flow from these devices. So to measure the static pressure in a pipe, we have to use pitot tube or pitot tube. It also measures the stagnation pressure. Again, piezometer is used to measure pressure head. So pressure head is nothing but pressure energy per unit weight. So energy per unit weight is known as head. So fluid is having three types of energy in general: pressure energy, kinetic energy, and potential energy. So with the help of piezometer, we can measure pressure head. So the height up to which fluid will rise in a piezometer, that will be your pressure head. So again, let's say you have a pipeline in which water is flowing. So the height up to which water will rise, this height is nothing but pressure head. Now moving on to the next question. Which of the following units of pressure represents the least pressure? This question has been asked several times in SSC also. So these are four units. Question is, which of this represents the least pressure? So let's convert all these four different units in Newton per meter square, or what you call as Pascal. So 1 Newton per meter square is equals to 1 Pascal. Let's convert all these into Pascal. So millibar is a unit of pressure. So millibar can be written as 10 to the power minus 3 bar. And if you remember, 1 bar is equals to 10 to the power 5 pascals. So let me convert it into Pascal by multiplying with 10 to the power 5, and I will get 10 to the power 2 Pascal, that is 100 Pascal. Similarly, millimeters of mercury, again let's convert 1 millimeter of mercury, that is in terms of head pressure is given, and I have to convert in terms of intensity. So 1 millimeter will be equals to 10 to the power minus 3 meters into G into H. Sorry, H I have already taken. So P is equals to rho GH is the thing which I am applying, hydrostatic law. Head is 1 millimeters of mercury. So here rho is the density of mercury. So it will be 13,600 kilogram per meter cube. After solving, I'll get it as 133.416 Pascal. So here this is 100 Pascal and this is 133.416 Pascal after multiplying. I have just converted this pressure in terms of head to the pressure intensity in terms of Pascal. Similarly, I can convert Newton per millimeter square also. It is Newton per millimeter square. So to convert it into Newton per meter square, I have to multiply with 10 to the power 6, or it is also known as megapascal. So again, it is a larger unit. It is 10 to the power 6 pascals. So far this is the least. Now let's check this also. Kilogram force per centimeter square. So in MKS system, this is the unit of pressure. So kilogram force is equals to 9.8 Newton, and centimeter square, if I convert into meter square, I have to multiply with 10 to the power 4. So again I am getting a larger number. So out of all these four options, millibar is the least pressure. So out of all these four, the least pressure is represented by millibar. So pressure is represented in several units: bar, atmospheric pressure, kilogram force per centimeter square, Newton per millimeter square, kilopascal, megapascal. Also pressure is represented in terms of head. Head is nothing but the height of fluid in the piezometer. So let's look at the next question. Pressure less than the atmospheric pressure is known as vacuum pressure, gauge pressure, suction pressure, or negative pressure. So whenever pressure is less than atmospheric pressure, it is known as vacuum pressure. or it can also be called as negative pressure, and it can also be called as suction pressure. So here all these three options are correct except B. So let's look at what is the concept. So I am taking an imaginary line which represents 0 Pascal, or I will say absolutely zero pressure here. So absolutely zero pressure is of vacuum. So let's assume we are starting here with vacuum. So atmospheric pressure is represented, let's say, by PATM. Its value is 101.325 kilopascal. This is the value of atmospheric pressure. So if I am considering the absolute zero as the reference, sorry, just a second. If I am assuming 0 as the reference, the pressure will be absolute pressure. Whereas if I consider the atmosphere as the reference, it will be something like this. Means considering atmosphere as the reference or the datum, what is the pressure? If it is more than atmosphere, I will call it as gauge pressure. If it is less than atmospheric pressure, I will call it as vacuum pressure. So this is nothing but the different names of pressure with respect to what is your datum or what is your reference point. So if atmosphere is the reference point, here the question is pressure less than the atmospheric pressure. So considering atmosphere at the reference point, if the pressure is less than this, we will call it as vacuum pressure or negative gauge pressure or vacuum pressure, negative gauge pressure or suction pressure. These are the different names for pressure less than P atmospheric. Atmospheric pressure is equals to 101.325 kilopascal. Whereas if I want to look at absolute pressure at this particular location, I have to go from 0 Pascal. So whenever I am considering absolute zero as the reference, whatever pressure is there, I will call it as absolute pressure. So if you see, absolute pressure is nothing but total pressure at any point starting from absolute zero. And absolute zero means wherever the pressure is 0 Pascal or 0. So it is the pressure of a complete vacuum. So here all the three options will be correct. All the three options will be correct: vacuum pressure, suction pressure and negative pressure. Now, let's look at the next question. For measuring the static pressure in a pipe, the pressure gauge is connected to. So, whenever we have to measure the static pressure in a pipe, we use piezometer. Now, what is barometer? Barometer measures the atmospheric pressure at any location. Barometers measure the atmospheric pressure. Orifice meter and venturimeter are used to measure the flow rate in a pipeline. How much volume of water is flowing per unit time, that is measured by orifice meter and venturimeter. Whereas V notch is used to measure the flow rate in a channel, or you can say in open channel or open conduits. For example, in a stream, in a canal which is open to atmosphere, which has a free surface basically. Free surface is nothing but a surface which is in contact with air. So all these options are for different purposes. Piezometer is nothing but simple glass tube. It is, you connect it to the point wherever you want to measure the pressure. For example, I want to measure the pressure in a pipeline. Let's say this is the pipeline going and I want to measure the pressure here at this point. So I'll connect the piezometer. Again, it is a hollow tube made of glass, open at both the ends. One end you connect it to the point where you want to measure the pressure, and other end is open to atmosphere. So the liquid, whichever liquid is there in this pipeline, it will rise in this piezometer if it is flowing at a higher pressure than the atmospheric pressure. Now the disadvantage of piezometer is it cannot measure the pressure of a gas, it cannot measure the pressure of high magnitude. That means if you need the high magnitude pressures, the height of this piezometer should be very large, because if you remember from the hydrostatic law, P is equals to rho gh, and if the pressure is high, this height of water in the piezometer will also be very high, so this height will be more. Whereas if you want to measure the gas pressure, again it will be a problem, because gas cannot form a free surface, so you will not get the height. Now next question is, which of the following is incorrect regarding to the selection of mercury to be used in barometers over other liquids? So the question is that which of the following features are important for the selection of mercury as a fluid to be used in barometer? So in barometer we use mercury. What is the property that makes us use mercury in the barometer? That is the question. And we have to find out what is the incorrect option with regard to its selection. So mercury has high vapor pressure. This statement is wrong. Because if mercury is having high vapor pressure, it means it will be volatile. And mercury has very low vapor pressure such that atmosphere is sufficient to uh, make it in that form. So vapor pressure is that pressure at which liquid will change its phase. If mercury would have if mercury would have low vapor pressure, atmosphere pressure is sufficient to keep it in liquid form. Whereas if it would have been having a high vapor pressure, atmospheric pressure would not have been sufficient to keep it in liquid form. And we need a pressure more than atmosphere to keep it in liquid form. So the first statement itself is very wrong. The second is correct. Mercury does not evaporate easily. Mercury is lustrous, so it is shiny, so that we can take the reading easily. And the third one is also true, that its freezing point is much lower. So the incorrect option will be your first option. First option is incorrect, that mercury has high vapor pressure. This is the correct answer. Now which of the following is correct related to absolute, atmospheric and gauge pressure? So if you remember, considering zero pressure as the 0 pascal as the absolute pressure, whenever we measure the pressure from 0, it is called as P absolute. At any location, if we are measuring the pressure considering 0 as the reference, it is absolute. P atmosphere is the pressure of the atmosphere, which is due to the weight of the air which is present, and gauge pressure is the pressure which is above the atmospheric pressure. So as simple as that, absolute pressure at any location, let's say at this location I want to measure the absolute pressure, so I have to start from 0 and I have to go at this location. Let's say this is A. So P absolute here will be P atmospheric plus P gauge. So option A will be correct option. If you see, option A is the correct option. All these options are wrong. P absolute is equals to P atmospheric plus P gauge. It is nothing but the reference game. P gauge is the pressure more than atmospheric pressure, and P absolute is the total pressure at that point considering from absolute 0. So these I think these were the questions which were asked from pressure and its measurement, manometers and all those in state PSCs. And next we'll have the third part, which is the hydrostatic forces on plane surfaces. So I hope you find this video informative, and if you did find it, please share it, and then if you have any doubts, please comment in the comment section. Thank you so much for the video.